Hey everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Let's Stay Together. I am so excited to have Giacomo on the show today. He's of course one of the stars of Grey's Anatomy. He has a brand new film out which we're going to dive into and talk all about. Then we'll have some fun Grey's conversation and I have your fan questions as well. So let me grab him right now. Hey my man, how are you?
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome. It's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So I started the show back in March, and I started it when COVID kind of shut the world down because I wanted people to have a place that they could turn to every week for some joy and hope and inspiration and to just have fun. And you are somebody who brings all of that. So it's great to have you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, this sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. And I know all your fans are tuned in, and I have your questions, you guys. I have the most popular 3 questions, which I'll be asking towards the end of the interview. But first, you got some good ones, but we're going to dive all into your new film. We'll have some fun Grey's conversation as well.
Yeah,
but man, you must be so proud. Congratulations to you on this film, Acquainted. I know it comes out tomorrow, December 8th. I watched it over the weekend. I thought you were brilliant. I thought the whole cast was brilliant. So tell us what this film is all about and tell us about your character, Drew.
Yeah, this film came to me many years ago, probably about 4 years ago now. My producing partner and I, Jonathan Keltz, were looking for our first project to produce as a production company that we had created. And we just wanted something that was just simple, that was about people, that was about human connection, that was, that we could easily produce. And we just found this really beautiful script by Natty Zavitz, who was our writer and director. And we just thought we could really accomplish it really well. And so we knew we wanted to shoot it in Toronto and show a different side of Toronto, the city that, we all grew up in. And it's so diverse. It's such a beautiful city. We wanted to kind of show it in a different way that it hadn't really been shown off before. It's usually always like people trying to make it into New York and putting some like yellow cab in the back, but we really wanted it to sort of show off all its beauty and its kind of ugliness too, like all the poetry and the graffiti and like the sort of like more rundowns of the West Side. And but yeah, this movie's about love. It's a modern love story. We're just every kind of couple of decades, love starts to look different. And so we wanted to kind of honestly represent what it looks like now. We have dating apps, so we meet people in a different way. Now we have a pandemic, so dating has never been more complex. So we just wanted to see if we could kind of highlight and showcase the challenges of dating and being in a relationship, being in love today. We play around with different themes of like fidelity and cheating and long-term relationships, what they mean. So yeah, we just thought there was a lot of really good stuff to mine. We felt like there were, there's a character in the film for everyone, I feel like, in terms of like who you connect to and who you relate to based on your life, based on if you've been cheated on, if you've cheated on someone, or if you've witnessed that, or, hell, we all have insecurities about that stuff happening to us, even if it's never happened to us, right? So we just felt like there was a way in for everybody to view it, and we tried not to make anybody, a villain, that these are just people making honest human mistakes and honest human choices the best they can with the circumstances that they've been given. And yeah, we just hope people enjoy it, and it's out tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like there's a character, like you said, everybody can kind of relate to in some way, and you play Drew. So tell us a little bit more about this guy you play.
Yeah, he's a writer. I think he's not so far into where he thought he would be in his life and certainly in his career. And he's been in a long-term relationship for a while. He's just purchased a home with his girlfriend, which is a big step, as we all know. Like, it's sort of like that common societal pressure of like, you buy the house, you get married, you have the kids, like picket fence, like that little checklist that, society's always trying to like pressure us to sort of knock off. And so, he hasn't got married, but he's bought the house, he's got the girl, he's, bought in literally to this life. And, but the relationship is kind of feeling a little stale. And when we throw in that he, meets someone from high school at a bar who kind of re-sparks this joie de vivre in him, that he feels exciting and young and sexy and confident again, it presents a big dilemma, because Drew is, you know, tasked with, okay, I've invested all this time into this relationship, but this one new person is making me feel really exciting and like butterflies, and I haven't felt like that in a while. But then the other side of that sword is that if I do jump ship and commit to this new and exciting thing, who's to say that in a couple of years that relationship's not just going to kind of go into monotony and going through the motions as well? Like, is that just something that happens with relationships, or is that the current relationship that I'm in? And so he's, you know, posed all these dilemmas and questions, and he can't quite figure them out. And he tries to do the best that he can given the circumstances, but he does get into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I feel like there's so many different themes, but what would you say is one of the biggest themes of this film?
It sounds so broad, because it is, but it's like love. Like, we're trying to figure out what love is, and right, that it can be messy and not straightforward. And there can be all these roundabout ways that people, you know, are in a relationship, then they take a break, and then they see people, and then a year later they come back and they have like the most amazing relationship ever, and they get married and have kids. Like that, it's not always linear. You know, the ending of our film, I won't say too much about it because I don't want to spoil it for people, but yeah, you know, it's kind of open-ended, and it's kind of like, oh, well, here's some circumstances, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen right now. It's not sort of wrapped up in a nice little bow. And I think, you know, everybody can make their own interpretation of what happens. But ultimately, you know, I don't ever think in life, whether it's in love or work or whatever, that there's mistakes. There's just lessons. You know, we just learn. You know, you go through your life, and I'm sure you've had, you know, different relationships in your past where you go, well, I guess I just learned a lesson, and that's good. And now I know not to do that, or now I know not to sort of take that person's word for it, or whatever. And then hopefully, you know, down the line, you find a better way of you know, expressing your love, or whatever you're going through. So I think that's sort of the theme that we're working with, is love, and what does it look like, and that everyone can kind of define their own version of what that means. Yeah.
So when people finish this film and they walk away after watching it, what do you hope they take with them?
Well, I can personally admit that many moons ago, I was in a relationship that I felt trapped in. I felt like I couldn't exit, and I was posed with a lot of the same questions that Drew was posing himself. And I know what it's like to kind of feel stuck in that, and how scary it feels to, like, oh, wow, you know, I'll be alone if I end this relationship. Like, am I okay with being alone? Do I have the confidence enough in myself to choose myself first? And so I think that's kind of a lot of the scary things that Drew's dealing with in the film. So for a takeaway, I hope that this film maybe confirms some things that you're thinking about in your life, or maybe helps push you over the edge to make a decision that you've been having trouble with in your love life. I hope, because oftentimes we can't make decisions in life because we can't be objective.
Right.
We can't see ourselves outside of them, right? So I feel like this film, what's so great about it is it allows you to see people in these very common situations, but outside of them. So you can actually see, oh shit, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to swear on your show.
Oh, it's fine.
But you know, it's like you can see, oh God, is that what I'm doing? Like, is that how I made that person feel? Oh crap, I didn't think of it that way. I was just kind of selfishly looking at it through my lens. I didn't see how that could come off as, you know, as that. So I'm hoping that maybe that this film can cause relationship and dialogue in relationship. Maybe it can, you know, if a couple is watching it, maybe they can spark a conversation after about how they feel about fidelity and their relationship and where they're at, and ask each other if they're happy, ask each other, you know, if they're not, why. And yeah, that's sort of what I'm hoping. Just conversation, dialogue. I hope it sparks a lot of dialogue.
Well, I think that's so important. I mean, you know, no two people's love story is the same, right? And I think this film allows you to think of relationships, either yours or ones you've been in or other people, and kind of really determine what you want, and whether that's being with somebody or being single or being with a different person? Or, you know, I think all those questions are so important more than ever now, when people are home and kind of stewing on things and thinking about what's going on in their life or where they've gone or where they've been. And I just think it's a really important film because, like you said, people don't ask those questions enough to themselves, right? And that's how, like, I was in a relationship in my 20s that when I got out of it, I was like, I wasted my 20s. I'm 34. Like, why did I waste my 20s? And that was my mentality. Instead of being like, oh no, I learned so much from that now I'm going to be married for 5 years in April and I've never been happier. Like, I just like connecting it all.
Definitely, yeah. It's lessons. Sometimes they're long lessons. We wish we didn't have to take so long to learn them. But at the end of the day, yeah, if we are apt enough and in the moment enough to realize that it's a lesson to take that learning opportunity, then, I mean, what we gain from it is immense and invaluable, like you said. And congratulations on your marriage and being happy for 5 years. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, how can people watch this? Got a lot of questions wondering, can people internationally see it? Who can see it? Where can they see it?
Internationally, not yet. In the U.S., this is our U.S. release, so we're really excited to just get it into the U.S. Everybody in America can watch it tomorrow everywhere you rent movies. The easiest way to direct people, I think, is like Amazon and Apple TV are the sort of big mainstream ones because you can rent films on that. So yeah, if you just type in Acquainted on Amazon or Apple TV, you'll be able to rent or buy the film there. And then, you know, if you have different like cable providers where there's video on demand and you can select movies that are rentable, they're going to be available everywhere you can rent a movie. So can't wait to, you know, see what you guys think.
Man, you're between this new movie and the new season of Grey's that premiered, you know, a few months ago, a month or so back. You are a busy man. And a lot of people are, you know, changing topics for a second. The new season has everybody just talking like crazy about everything going on. And of course, you play the passionate and what some people might consider the headstrong Dr. DeLuca on the show. So you've been on it for a few years now. What are some of your favorite memories or moments or storylines for your character being on that show?
Yeah, I think what has always kept me engaged in the show as an actor and just as a participant in this show is I'm a fan. Like, I really am. Like, I'm a fan of the show. And I wasn't a longtime fan before joining the show. I wasn't, you know, I remember, you know, being in school and high school and even college and, you know, friends or girlfriends around being like, oh, you know, we're watching Grace tonight. And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah. And then like all these years later, I'm on the show. Like, it's so strange. But Grey's Anatomy kind of pioneered this, like, always tackling social issues head on and educating the world about, you know, sometimes it's diseases that don't get a lot of, you know, shout out, and a lot of diseases that don't get a lot of light shed on them because they're rare. So kind of honoring those people and honoring those patients and their families. And other times it's like, you know, social justice stuff. Like, we do a lot of, you know, LGBTQ rights and trans rights and all these things, you know, just for equality, you know, police bias, all these different kind of social issues that we're facing in the world. And we reflect them in our show and try to find clever ways of creating characters so we can tell these stories and educate people and bring them up to speed. Because the reality is that, you know, a lot of people around the world, and I can just say in the US as well, might not have access to a wide variety of media in terms of how progressive their media is. And Grey's Anatomy might just be that one little snippet of progressive television that they ingest. And so I really think that over the years, it's really changed a lot of lives. It's helped a lot of people not feel alone. And that's been the one thing that's really kept me engaged. When we get to tell these stories and sort of amplify these voices, it's really been amazing to be a part of.
Well, especially with your character, I know in season 16, we started learning a little bit about the early stages of bipolar disorder. And I received a lot of DMs when I announced you as my guest saying that storyline specifically is helping people feel seen and not alone and not scared or not crazy, someone wrote to me, because they're seeing something reflected that they're not used to seeing on such a major show. So how has it been being a part of that storyline for you, and will we see more of that unfold?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that storyline was such a amazing honor to play and to contribute to, and, um, just sending love to the whole mental health community, whether you're a mental health worker or someone who's suffering. Just a lot of love to all of you out there listening. And yeah, it was a huge honor to play this character in this storyline. And I also, I mean, when that aired, I mean, I got so many messages and emails and tweets and things from people who specifically have bipolar 1 or 2, and also just have other mental health issues. And it was just really gratifying and humbling to kind of hear these, like you said, like, I felt seen, I didn't feel crazy, and like, thank you. And, I didn't write the words, I just sort of played them. The tip of the cap really is to the writers and the creators, and Krista, our showrunner, for writing these stories that are so rich that I get to dive in as an actor and tell. But that's ultimately the goal of the show. And it's kind of like what I was saying before. It's like, we have fun, putting on costumes and make believe and, lights, camera, action. But at the end of the day, it's like, if we can have one person not feel alone, or one person, it's like we succeeded, like grand slam, like it's game over. It's the best feeling. And, for other characters over the years who have played different things, like, gay characters or whatever, who have gotten to be kind of like the poster boy for that thing, and help those viewers feel seen, has been amazing too. So, like, so many characters on the show have been able to kind of be an advocate for a issue, right? A social issue. And so, no, the feedback's been amazing. It's been super gratifying, and I'm just really thankful for that opportunity.
Has the COVID-19 storyline been a little surreal for you, like living it and also acting that out?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's something that the actors and I talk about frequently, because, normally the circumstances that we're playing on set are fictional. And when we yell cut, we all kind of go back to our lives and go, wow, like, that was heavy, that thing we were acting, you know what I mean? But
Right.
that's not our reality. And the difference now is that when we call cut, the thing that we were just in, like, we're still in this pandemic. We're still afraid for our lives. We're still afraid for the lives of our loved ones. And it is quite surreal playing these things. It's also surreal playing, like, backwards, because we're playing, I think, sort of like, it was like April-ish, April or May. So we know more now than we did then, and sort of
Right.
seeing where people were at that time in hospitals, and healthcare workers that were more scrambling because it was relatively new. It's hard. And, this whole season is dedicated to the healthcare workers. We wanted people to see what it's been like inside the hospitals, because it's not something that's been greatly covered in the media. There hasn't been a lot of cameras inside of hospitals really seeing. There's been some great viral videos that have gone viral of nurses or doctors who have, been in tears saying, I'm overworked, I don't have PPE, the conditions we're working in are terrible, but I signed up for this job and I want to help people, and, like, those people are heroes. And so we're trying to make them look like heroes and pay homage to them, because, I mean, we're almost coming up on a year.
Yeah.
And that's mind blowing that these guys have had their foot on the gas pedal with no brakes, not seeing their families, or seeing their families through a phone, having to, share so many people's, last words because their family members couldn't come into the hospital. Just horrible circumstances that you would never wish on anyone. So this season's really about the healthcare workers, and our thank you to them.
Yeah, yeah. And I know a lot of healthcare workers also wrote to me saying how nice it feels to have that support from you guys, which is pretty cool.
Great.
And before we move on, I have to also ask you, how has it been working with, the character of Meredith and that storyline of playing the love interest? I know it's a little rocky right now, but do you see that going in a better direction?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful for my DeLuca guy. I'm
right.
cheering for him. Yeah, I just think, she has COVID, and when someone's life is on the line like that, any other thing goes to the wayside. You know what I mean? So our love connection is definitely on pause for the moment, and the focus is on keeping Meredith alive. And so I'm hoping that Meredith snaps out of this and we can get her back, so DeLuca can pick up where he left off, hopefully, and try to vie for her love.
Nice, nice. Another thing that I've got to say I really respect about you is you're somebody who uses your platforms for such good, whether you're, promoting the importance of trans rights and having somebody take over your account to, helping people in need through the No Bis No Cold Shoulder initiative, which I love and I'm actually a part of as well. You make it an effort to really put out these messages that matter. Is this something that you've always been passionate about, and why is it so important for you to bring these topics to the forefront? Because not everybody does this who has a platform. So I always admire people who do.
Yeah, I just straight up feel it's my responsibility, like, period. If you're someone in the public eye and you have that kind of platform, it's a real superpower. And if you're not acknowledging that it is, you're really wrong. You need to wake up, because there's people with a lot of followers, and followers is now like this whole of, how people get credibility and stuff. At the end of the day, it's like, what are you doing with it? You know what I mean? Are you just getting cool sneakers for free, or are you going to like do something about it? You know what I mean? And I think a big hero of mine, I speak about him a lot, is Robin Williams. And he was an amazing comedic actor, dramatic actor. But what a lot less people know about is his works getting funding and awareness for HIV, for the helping the homeless community. He was a San Francisco resident. San Francisco got a horrible, horrible homeless problem. And, I think LA is like first and San Francisco second or something like that. And, he would do things like, he would try to get films filmed in San Francisco because his family was there, so he could tuck his kids in at night. But also he made the productions hire homeless people.
Wow.
So that he could employ them. So, and that's that sort of, and Instagram wasn't around back then, but it's an example of using your power, using your platform, whatever it may be, for good and for change. Because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, he's got Oscars and things like that, but I know that Robin would not want to be remembered for his Oscars, but he'd want to be remembered for the people that he helped and the people that he touched. And so I too want to be remembered in that way. I'm having fun being an actor, and this is great, but I hope to leave this world making it better than when I came in. That's my goal. And so if there's ways that I can, use my platform to amplify voices and help other people out who don't really have a voice, then I'm all in for it all the time. And I do my best. I wish I could do more. Yeah, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, you're certainly doing a lot. So your best is helping a lot of people. So I think it's awesome. Now we have a few fan questions before I let you go.
Great.
These were the most popular questions I received, so I combined them. And the first one is, a lot of people are imagining you must receive tons of scripts and opportunities to collaborate on different shows and films and this and that. What was it about Acquainted that made you want to do this? Out of everything that you could work on, what was it? What drew you to it?
I just didn't really think I had seen a kind of like modern love story like it before. I thought the writing was really great. I loved it was all going to be set in Toronto and show off, it's a Canadian film, and I love supporting Canadian film and filmmakers. I knew we were going to assemble an amazing cast of like all of my best friends who are amazing, talented actors and actresses. And so there's so many reasons. I don't know where to begin. I knew it was going to be a blast. And I knew that if we pulled it off, I think it would help a lot of people in their relationships and where they were. So that's why, what drew me to it.
Nice, nice. The second question, a Grace question. Favorite part about filming with Ellen?
Favorite part about filming with Ellen? We just always have a lot of fun. Yeah, we just always have a blast. She's just always in a great mood, and she's got great taste in music. Hip hop music specifically.
Nice.
Yeah, and she likes Drake from Toronto. We definitely bonded over that. Yeah, we just have a good time on set. It's really easy. I remember years ago when Chris, our showrunner, was like, "We're thinking about exploring some love between you and Ellen." We were kind of like, "Oh, amazing!" Like we'll just get to spend more time together. Like we have a great time shooting on set. So yeah, no, Ellen's a gem.
That's awesome. I always believe it shows between actors and their projects who like really, really clicks and hits it off, and a lot of people see that with you guys, so it's cool. Last question, and I appreciate this question. I'm an Italian boy from Jersey, so I like this one.
Okay.
A lot of people want to know, what is your favorite part about the Italian culture, and where do you like to go to visit in Italy, like your #1 spot if you could go tomorrow?
Okay, so the #1 spot, I don't even have to think about it. It's Capri, which is just off the coast of Naples.
Love it.
It's my wife and I's favorite place in the world. It was like my coveted little secret, and then I shared it with her, and then now it's her favorite place in the world now too. Favorite part about Italian culture, you know, family is really big in Italian culture. It's not the only culture that makes family big, but it really is a big deal, at least in my family and my culture specifically. And so I love that, you know, family gatherings, dinner on Sunday, like those are things I miss about, you know, growing up and being with my family from the pandemic and stuff, you know, cooking, that, you know, all gatherings are centered around a meal, and it's all about connecting and sharing and using that food and wine
A lot of
way to connect us. So yeah, I love how important family is in our Italian culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I grew up in Jersey. My whole family lived like 10 minutes from each other, so we all grew up together.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. Wrapping it up, bringing it back to your film, which comes out tomorrow. What, you know, people are home, they're streaming, they're watching tons of interesting stuff. What are 3 reasons why people cannot miss this film?
3 reasons.
Like, give it to us.
I think your relationship's going to improve. You'll
Nice.
learn about things. I think you're going to be entertained. It's fun. It's sexy. It's romantic. And oh my God, I'm so glad I thought of it. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's got a lot of amazing Canadian artists on it. The soundtrack is incredible. So yeah, watch Acquainted tomorrow, December 8th. Listen to the amazing music. Fall in love with our characters. Fall in love with our film, Acquainted. And thank you so much for having me. This was a great chat. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure having you. The film's great, you guys. I can attest. I watched it. Congratulations to you, and we all can't wait to see what's next.
Okay, take care. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
be well. Take care.
Bye-bye.